Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. It's me Vinod. Today I wanted to talk about an interesting article I read in Financial Times about Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly and the challenges they're facing, and it may not be the golden ticket they thought it was, weight loss drugs. So hang on with it. I don't think it's really true, but playing devil's advocate, we should always listen to all the opinions in the room, as I say. I do believe weight loss drugs are going to be a huge market because the world is suffering from obesity. I am suffering from obesity, not to the extent of a lot of other people are suffering, but I am feeling the obesity. And if people like me are feeling it, and a drug is available where you can take this drug and it's safe and with no real side effects, I'm able to lose the weight and I'm able to achieve a better, healthier lifestyle thanks to this simple drug, I do feel it has a huge market. It's a no-brainer, as I say. But this article, it says, it may not be as clear-cut as that. Because they say there is kind of a peak that's happened as far as weight loss drugs are concerned. And there is what you call bearish sentiment growing in the market from the consumers towards this drug. And the reason why they're saying it is the drug, which is called GLP-1 stocks, are turning bearish, meaning it's not moving as it was moving. And the trials which are there for the next drug, which is from Novo Nordisk, is called Carigacima drug, has missed 25% in weight loss goal targets. And the sales of the last 2 quarters for Eli has been underperforming. So these are the main things the article hits on. Then, of course, it also goes on to say the sky-high valuations of these companies, like Lilly is trading at a P of 55, while Novo Nordisk is at 27, and it feels it's completely overpriced and it's going to correct. And some of it, like Novo Nordisk, has already started correcting thanks to, like I said, about the drug, their new drug variant not really hitting the targets where it wants us. So some investors have started turning skeptical that weight loss drug market may not hit $100 billion by 2030, which is what this whole fueling of the price was. So what is the implication to us? You're like, okay, Vinod, so this is Novo Nordisk, this is Eli Lilly, and this is in the US. And most of us viewers are not investing in American stocks. And those of us who are investing in American stocks will not consider Eli Lilly right now or Novo Nordisk because they're very expensive. We did consider Novo Nordisk some time ago, but now the price has become very high. Though the correction has happened, it's still looking expensive. So what is the implications for this? Why are we talking about this? The reason why I want to talk about this is this cooling down in weight loss drugs is going to affect companies like Cipla, Sun Pharma, and of course your Dr. Reddy and Natco. So the reason why it's going to affect them is these companies have betted very heavily on weight loss drugs. Dr. Reddy and Natco. Natco more so than Dr. Reddy. And if you see this, if there is a cool down and a slowdown in weight loss drugs, it's definitely going to affect the profitability of these companies and these earnings of these companies. This is the main reason why I wanted to talk about this article. So, should you be investing in Dr. Reddy? Should you be investing in Natco if there is a slowdown in weight loss drugs? And if it is going to happen, out of the two, which one should you actually be looking at? Should you be looking at Dr. Reddy or should you be looking at Natco? Is what I wanted to say. There are some really important things to keep in mind as a long-term investor when it comes to this. Like I said in the beginning on the onset of the video, weight loss and obesity is a huge problem worldwide. That problem is not going to go anywhere. And these drugs are under development and money is to be made there. So if one variation of a drug fails, I'm sure they're working on other drugs which is there in the pipeline, which we in the public do not know about. And as they become safer and trials pass, they'll come more to the public to know about this. So keep that also in mind when you're thinking about these specific drugs when you talk about it. So this bearish sentiment which we're seeing in the US, I feel is short term. It's not a long term thing. And Natco is doing the right play, going behind weight loss drug. And we saw this itself when Natco won the settlement last year. That initial settlement went in their favor and the stock surged. And from there, the profit surged and the company did very well. Recently, it's taken a beating because, like I said in a previous video, it is reaching an end cycle of a certain drug and they haven't onboarded the new drug. So there's a lull in the middle. So the earnings will drop. And because of the drop in the earnings, Natco prices have corrected. And that is why you're seeing it where it is. That the future, like how market prices a stock into future earnings, market also prices in future drop in earnings and it starts dropping the price. Like we saw in Tata Motors also. We saw the earnings fall and now most analysts feel it will be continuing for a few more quarters. So immediately they have corrected the price band for the stock and they pushed it down. That is why we are able to see it where it is. So this is also true in the case of Natco and Dr. Reddy. But now the question comes in, if you had to compare Dr. Reddy and Natco, which one would you be looking at? My argument would be I would look at more at Dr. Reddy. And here's why. When you look at Dr. Reddy's portfolio of drugs, what it has, weight loss is one of the drugs it has in its portfolio, but it's not their main focus. While in the case of Natco, it is their main focus it's going to be. Dr. Reddy is a much larger company, right? It's 5 times the size of Natco in terms of market cap, and they have a long history of doing a lot of other drugs and catering to a lot of other illnesses compared to Natco. Natco, their strategy is they find one and they beat it and they ride it and they make money off it and they move on. But at the same time, if the weight loss drugs are put into Medicare or Medi-Aid in the US and the government gives price support for that, and there is already supply constraints for these weight loss drugs in the US, that is going to give an opening for Natco to bring in lower priced generic forms of these drugs in and flood the market and make a killing. So there is, a wait and watch approach in this. So as an investor, I would say think carefully and analyze this information, what I'm sharing with you, and do a further research to see where do you think this will fall. With the FIs exiting because of the strengthening dollar, the Fed has come out saying they're not going to do anything with the rate right now because they don't feel the inflation is going to cool as they expect with what Trump is doing. The rates are staying where they are, and the Indian rates cannot go anywhere because the RBI's hands are also tied because of what's happening macroeconomically. The dollar is still strengthening. That means the FI exit will continue. And if some point of time the RBI throws in the towel and looks at a rate cut because of pressures from domestically and from the government, then this dollar arbitrage will become even worse, making the FIs pull out even more money, putting more pressure on Indian stocks, and companies like Natco will also take a beating at that point of time. But the funny thing is, because Natco is going to be exporting most of its new drugs to the US, the arbitrage, if the rupee becoming weaker, actually increases earnings for companies like Natco and Dr. Reddy. So it's a double-edged sword. I know I'm giving you a lot of information and it adds a lot of confusion. Yes, but the reason why I'm giving you so much of information is I want you to spend some time thinking about how do you approach companies like Natco and Dr. Reddy, and how do you take implications of what's happening in the US in terms of this weight loss drugs. How do you read into what the FDA is saying, what the American government is saying about how they're going to classify these drugs? Are they going to give price support? Are they going to put price bands on these? And how to take information such as stock and supply of these drugs and the demand, supply chains in Europe, in let's say UK for these drugs. What are we going to do with all this information is what I wanted to think. Because there's no clear-cut answers in this. There's lots of information, there's lots of positives, there's lots of negatives. The main negatives is, I would say, is a bearish sentiment for this specific class of drugs which are right now in the market. The consumers feel it's not the wonder drug it was, and the new drugs which are coming from the pipeline, at least from Novo Nordisk, is not as great as they thought it would be. So there is pressure in that terms, but all this is in the short term, like I said. And sentiment doesn't actually translate into reality. Sentiment is them trying to predict, like analysts trying to predict the future price of a stock. So same way analysts try and predict what is going to be happening in the future when it comes to these drugs, which is very difficult to do. So this is the information I've given you as far as Natco and Dr. Reddy are concerned. If you had to pick only one between both of them, I would always say Dr. Reddy. Like I said before, Dr. Reddy has more on their portfolio than weight loss drugs, while Natco seems to be focusing on weight loss drugs. So this is some food for thought which I've given you today, because this correction is going to be there for some time and probably see some more correction in the coming few months, or even this entire year. You're going to see correction in these two stocks. So as you see opportunities, which one should you buy is what I want to know. So let me know in the comments down below. What did you think of what I said? Would you think of Natco or do you think of Dr. Reddy? And what do you think of weight loss drugs? Are they a blessing or are they a curse? Is this the future? Do you think there is a $100 billion market waiting to be seen by 2030? Thanks for watching the video today as always. I hope you enjoyed this content. It's a little different from what I usually talk about. Do let me know what you thought. Thank you.
Hey guys, that my uncles Vinod Srinivasan, Anand Srinivasan and I have rolled out our Substack, which is basically a blog/newsletter where we're going to post our original research onto it, and we've analyzed macroeconomic trends. And a lot of you know my uncle Anand Srinivasan and I regularly write for The Hindu, and these articles are also going to be made available for you in the Substack. The link is moatinvesting.substack.com. You'll find it in the description and in the video right now. We hope you go check it out. We've put a lot of time and effort into it. And please give us comments and feedback on what you read. Thank you.